Hey there, welcome to Main Street Living. I am Cheryl Nelson.
Hey there, I'm Quincy Carr.
And I'm Danielle Alvari.
It is a big week, guys. It's Thanksgiving week. Everybody's going to be cooking and traveling and spending time with family and friends. There's a lot of stuff going on.
And avoiding putting up Christmas decorations afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean traveling, Cheryl, as you can see, I'm not in my usual setup here. I'm actually in Cabo right now for my brother's wedding.
Super jealous. So you're coming to us from another country.
Yeah, so I'm doing traveling and family right now, Cheryl, but I haven't done a whole lot of eating yet. I'm working on that.
They got some really good Wi-Fi over there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We're on a hope and a prayer, Quincy. You know that.
So what's on the menu, Danielle, for Thanksgiving? I know you love to bake.
This is controversial, guys, but I love pie. I love pumpkin pie, apple pie, but I like desserts year round. But there's not a single Thanksgiving food that I like. I'm not a green bean casserole person. I don't like stuffing or dressing, whatever you call it. I'm not big on turkey. Cheryl, I know that you're vegan, so what do you get down with?
What?
I normally do some kind of a really yummy quinoa pilaf. So get some yummy veggies and some quinoa. I'm also a big advocate for cranberry sauce. Wait, what?
Quincy does not like this.
No, Cheryl, I understand your situation, but Danielle, you turkey? Like, you don't like, are you kidding me?
No.
Like, that's the Thanksgiving tradition. Like, you gotta have some turkey. I don't understand.
He's allowed to not have turkey. It saves one extra turkey the way I look at it.
Well, think about it this way too, like Thanksgiving foods. Do you ever eat cranberry sauce any other time of the year? No. Because it's not that good.
Well, okay. All right. I beg to differ. I think cranberry sauce is yummy. If you put some orange zest in it, put a little bit of sugar in there.
It really spikes up your glands. As soon
I think I just haven't done Thanksgiving dinner right, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to do Friendsgiving.
So being from Texas, my grandmother, before she passed away, was just known for the best peach cobbler. And I cannot find anyone that can match my Meemaw's peach cobbler. That's when you know it's a real grandmother, because you call her Meemaw.
Your Meemaw.
I bet she makes a cobbler.
I haven't found it. I mean, I just love a good peach cobbler.
Well, I'm not going to compete with her, but maybe I'll send you a cobbler, Quincy.
Okay.
That would be, that's sweet, guys. And speaking of which, what's your favorite pie? I think I'm traditional. I love apple pie.
I do pumpkin. I do pumpkin this time of year. Apple for Christmas.
Apple pie.
Yeah.
Sweet potato.
I definitely don't skip dessert.
You know what? Now I'm hungry. I'm hungry, guys. And Quincy, you mentioned sweet potatoes. We're going to come up with a great recipe that includes sweet potatoes coming up on Main Street Living today. So you'll want to stick around and see that. And also, we're going to dive deeper as I explore whales and climate change. I've got part 2 of the Right Whale series coming up.
That's right. Cheryl, a lot of caring that you have. We got some caring and giving back as we're visiting with the Salvation Army and talking about the food bank.
That's right. We're going to also show you how to keep your energy levels up and how to not let stress get to you. We have some doctor's orders next, right here on Main Street Living.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy. With the holiday season upon us, it's easy for schedules to become crammed with shopping, cooking, parties, and so many other things that go along with the holidays, right?
Yeah, Cheryl. And while these are fun activities, the sheer number of things that we try to pack in can leave us feeling stressed out and not feeling very festive. We're here to let you know it doesn't have to be that way this year. And Dr. Elizabeth Fedrick has some tips on how to make the holidays both fun and relaxing. Welcome to Main Street Living, Doctor.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we all experience some level of stress over the holidays. I'm sure that's true. But for some people, it can just take all the joy out of everything. So what are kind of the most common sources of stress during the holidays?
Yes, absolutely. The holidays, definitely, that is just something that comes along with it. They are stressful. But some of the aspects that increase the stress. So time is one of them. So just not having enough time to get things done, but also the increased number of events that we're expected to attend and running all over the place. The money aspect can also be really stressful for a lot of people, trying to budget for all the people you want to buy gifts for. And then being around people that potentially we've been trying to avoid the rest of the year can also create a little bit of stress.
Yeah, I would.
It's unfortunately true.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. And Dr. Elizabeth, my question is it up to each of us to learn how to cope with these stresses, like a family member or something like that, or are there ways for us to keep it from happening in the first place?
Sure, that's such a good question. So yes, we do have to learn some of these skills, whether that's removing ourselves from a situation, that's taking some deep breaths, grounding, whatever we have to do to tolerate that. But there's also, setting boundaries and managing our expectations going into the holidays can also be really helpful. And so setting boundaries around how much money we're spending, how much time we're willing to give away, who we're willing to be around, and even what we're willing to talk about can be really beneficial for being proactive and managing that stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell us more about that? What are some suggestions for planning a less stressful holiday season?
Yes. So first and foremost, I encourage my clients to start with setting a budget when it comes to gifts. So identify who is everyone you're wanting to buy for, what's the total dollar amount you're wanting to spend. So don't even start to identify for each person yet. And then once you have that list and the dollar amount, then kind of go through and figure that out. How much you spend on the dog walker might not be how much you spend on your mother-in-law. Potentially,
I don't know.
I could be wrong, but you kind of figure that out. Who are you spending money on and where? That can be really helpful. And then you just stay focused. That's the amount you're spending. And the other part would be, having boundaries around where you're spending time and saying no to events. Sometimes it's really hard to say no, but you don't have to go to all events. And if you do, have an escape plan. Have something prepared, ready to leave maybe by 8 or 9 o'clock that night, so that you're not then exhausted the next day.
See, that's my problem. I don't know how to say no. I feel like I have to stretch myself and be everywhere at every time. And see, in the real issue,
because you're the life of the party, Quincy.
Well, I try to be, right? But when it comes to trying to plan less, does that mean that I'm potentially missing out on the fun?
Oh, I mean, that is such a valid concern, right? I would have to venture a guess that you would actually end up having a more enjoyable holiday season because you're going to be a whole lot less stressed than everyone else around you.
Right.
And maybe you do attend all the events, but maybe you limit the amount of time you're there. Maybe you show up and you be the life of the party and then you cut loose early, whatever that looks like. But managing a little bit of that, you are going to be in such a better place than for the next event or for the next, even the next day when you're trying to get your to-do list done for the holidays. Yeah. You're not feeling as drained.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and the gifts and all of these things, but that just adds to the stress here. What are some things we can kind of do to pull the focus back on what's really important here?
Great point. Yes. And it really is about family, right? So it is family, it's friends, it's spending time with the people that we really care about. And so putting that in perspective, when we start to get stressed out, when we start to get overwhelmed and it's not even feeling fun anymore, just like put a pause on that, like take a second. Okay, what is this really about? This is really about enjoying the people that I love and that are important to me. And another thing that can be really helpful is to really focus on what's within your circle of control. So we can't control everything. We can't influence everything. But there are things we can, such as the amount of money we spend, the amount of time we're willing to give away, the topics of conversation. Focus on what you're able to control.
Ooh, well, let me just add something. I can't control how much food I want to take back home with me.
A lot of control we're asking
so
for.
many cookies and all types of things. So that's a lot of I guess control. Maybe I'll listen to Janet Jackson. Control, right?
You can control the Tupperware you put in your suitcase that you bring with you or the Ziploc bags that you put in your backpack. You can be prepared for all the food you want to take home.
Got you. Well, lastly, how can we control the conversational topics? I know that's usually really big.
Yes, that is
Contentious.
such a concern for a lot of people. Again, we can't control what other people say or do, but we do get to control what we participate in and what we engage in. And so if a conversation comes up that we're not comfortable with, that maybe it's creating like, okay, this doesn't feel right. This is really uncomfortable. We can gently redirect the conversation. We can blatantly say, hey, I'm not really comfortable talking about this. And if all else fails, we can get up and remove ourselves from the situation. Bathroom break. Like we can go get some more food, go fill up your Ziploc bag. We can find ways to remove ourselves from the situation. And that's usually the most effective way of controlling that.
Well, there you have it.
Prepared. I feel prepared now for the holidays, but where can our viewers find more helpful tips from you, more information?
Sure. So my website is evolvecounselingaz.com. And I'm also very active on Instagram at Dr. Elizabeth Fedrick.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for all the tips.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Danielle, we're going to woosah. Just put your hands together. We're going to woosah.
Yeah, please. Just get me through the holidays.
So we can avoid any potential stresses, because up next is all about Thanksgiving and that tasty side dish. Is it greens, beans, tomatoes, potatoes? We don't know.
He's on a roll.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Quincy, Danielle, different holidays mean different things to different people, but Thanksgiving is really all about the food and sharing that food with people we care about. I had to tease you guys a little bit.
Yeah, we got there. Our favorite chef, Nick Rabar, has a decadent recipe for sweet potato au gratin that you're going to want to try this Thanksgiving or really any time. Check this out.
Keep on Cooking with Nick Rabar is brought to you by Wines and More of Walpole.
What's up, gang? Welcome to my kitchen, and thanks for joining me here on Keep on Cooking. Well, the holidays are upon us, and while they might mean something different to everyone, to me, they mean food. While turkey is traditionally the star of the show, this year's page-turners are the sides. Whether it's buttery mashed potatoes or grandma's famous stuffing, everyone has their favorites. But for me, this year's breakout hit is my sweet potato and bacon au gratin. To make this dish, we're gonna need sweet potatoes, applewood bacon, some beautifully caramelized leeks, heavy cream, Gruyere cheese, fontina, Parmesan, and some fresh chopped thyme. We're gonna get started by chopping up some of these sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes can often come with a little bit of a fibrous end, so I'm just gonna remove that, cut it in half, and then we're gonna cut them like a large dice. Leaving the skin on, we're gonna cut these into nice equally sized pieces. Time for these babies to hit the jacuzzi. All right, we're gonna pop them right in there, start them from cold water, hit them with a pinch of kosher salt, fire it up, high heat. 20 minutes, guys, let them do their thing. All right, guys, next step is gonna be to make this rich Mornay style sauce. So I'm gonna go in with some heavy cream. We're gonna go in with about 3 cups. Now, we're gonna turn the heat on like medium high, because you gotta be real careful, A, not to scorch it, and B, not to let it boil over. While it's heating up, even before it's boiling, feel the bottom of the pan. You wanna make sure that the scorch monster is not peering his ugly head out. All right, so we're gonna let that simmer. We're gonna check our potatoes. They are nice and fork tender. Fork tender means you stick a fork in, potato jumps off, it's done, okay? Kill the heat there. Let's go ahead and strain them. Gonna go right into the colander, and you can see how they're soft, but they have sort of held up their properties there. We're gonna let that sit, strain, boom. All right, now that those potatoes are strained, we're gonna start to finish off this Mornay sauce. We've got 2 types of cheeses, fontina and Parmesan. We're gonna put just the right amount in. So put in just a little bit of the fontina, a little bit of Parmesan, pinch of kosher salt, Now you definitely want to be stirring, okay? All right, that's looking perfect. Cheeses are in, heat's killed. Let's go put this together. All right, guys, this is where it gets good. We want to mix all these ingredients together before we place them in the baking vessel. So we've pre-cooked our sweet potatoes here, which is essential because we can control the doneness of the potato. Now I have my pre-caramelized leeks, which are gonna go right into the mix. Bacon, which we've touched on but didn't really talk about. Beautiful large cut bacon. We don't want this bacon to be lost. This is a sweet potato and bacon au gratin. Let all that bacon fat drip in there. Pinch of thyme, right in. Now, let's go. Let's go chasing waterfalls. Put in that Mornay sauce, okay? You want a little bit extra, and I'm gonna explain to you why in just a minute. So now that all of that is combined, we're gonna mix it. Mix all that up beautifully. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into a baking dish of your choosing. I'm using this cast iron pan. It's actually made right in Providence, Rhode Island by Matt, a RISD graduate who owns Nest Homeware. He makes incredible cast iron pans. Now, as you see, we're going in. We want this to have a nice amount of cream because we're not done with the cheese yet, okay? We're gonna place this Gruyere cheese on top, all the way to the edge, and now we're gonna bake it. We're gonna preheat the oven at 500 degrees. All right, pop it in, high heat, see ya. So now you got about 15 minutes, so go ahead and kill some time. Good idea. Break's over, back to work. Okay guys, so 15 minutes later, we'll take a little peek and you can see how that cream is bubbling around the edges. The top has browned sensationally. All right guys, there it is. We're gonna finish it with some fresh chopped thyme, a little bit more fresh Parmesan. That's about as good as it gets. Guys, no matter what you're making this holiday season, make sure you enjoy every second of it. Until we meet again, it's your old pal, Nick Rabar, telling you to keep on cooking.
Ooh, I'm getting hungry, guys, just looking at that. I love sweet potatoes. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it seems like almost like a healthier Thanksgiving food as well. And that's good because I eat like 2 Thanksgivings a day. I don't know about you guys.
Oh my gosh, no, just one for me. Q,
Yeah,
what
like in
about
the
you?
afternoon and then like dinner later, right?
Oh,
Yeah, kind of sort of.
Well, you can find more from Chef Nick at avenueandamericankitchen.com.
That's right. Well, food is definitely one way to bring families together during the holidays. But when a disaster strikes, we can look to one organization who goes the extra mile to help our neighbors. So more about that after the break. Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, Cheryl, you already know my bah humbug spirit, but there are certain things that can trigger our minds into holiday mode. I'm talking decorations that need to go up, holiday music on the radio, or even the sound of that Salvation Army bell, right?
Oh, yes. And to talk about some programs available to the community, we are happy to have Captain Jeff Williams of the Salvation Army in Chandler, Arizona, joining us today. Welcome to Main Street Living.
Thank you.
So we all know the Salvation Army as the bell ringers around the holidays, but people might not know much about the Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services, or EDS for short. Captain, could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course, yes. The Salvation Army has been responding to major disasters in the United States for more than 120 years. And with units around the world, the Salvation Army is uniquely equipped to respond to any type of disaster. And because of our unique presence globally, we are often already in a community when a disaster strikes, and we are usually the last to leave.
Well, you did just mention that you guys respond to any type of disaster. Could you expand on that a little bit? What types of disasters do you respond to?
Yeah, I mean, we respond to any type of disaster: hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, earthquakes. We've even responded to volcanic eruptions. We help people facing the bitter cold in the winter conditions, all the way to the brutal summers. As you can imagine, extreme heat, it can be life-threatening out here where I'm at in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you provide those services. I'm a meteorologist myself, and I focus a lot on natural disaster preparedness. And a lot of the times, we say the preparedness message, but it still catches people off guard sometimes. So it's great that you're there to respond. And what does a Salvation Army EDS response typically look like?
Well, when a disaster strikes, one of the first signs of help, we often, the arrival of the Salvation Army mobile feeding unit or a canteen, and we'll immediately begin to serve meals, snacks, drinks, hydration to survivors and first responders. We also help provide things like emergency shelter and household supplies. And since the Salvation Army usually has a unit based in the community or nearby, we will be there as long as we're needed to provide support for long-term recovery.
It's so important to do. And I love that you talk about providing support. How important is it to just simply provide even a shoulder to lean on here?
Yeah, we have been deployed quite a bit this season, and just being there present with people when they're in the midst of a disaster, just being able to hear their story and listen to what they have to say, and just being that comfort and reassurance for them is pretty big.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've been a part of so many disaster responses for the Salvation Army. What's something we wouldn't even think about that a disaster survivor might have to face when trying to recover from a disaster?
Oh, goodness. Well, this last year has been kind of crazy. This last summer, I was deployed to Globe, and the Globe Miami area of Arizona. And I came across a gal who was digging in her front yard, and the flood had just come through, and all this dirt and debris had come in, and it lifted her shed. Well, out there, her shed was also her washroom. And I didn't realize she was trying to dig out her tools and her washer and dryer that was at least 5 feet below the dirt. And so for like a couple days, I'm out there digging, trying to help her find the tools and the supplies and the things that were in that shed so that we could lift the shed to move it out of the way. And that's honestly was a first for me. But just being there and being present and you never know what you're going to run into. And the unique thing about the Salvation Army is that we're fluid. And so we're just trying to meet the need where it is. And at that moment, it was literally digging and looking for this person's belongings.
Wow.
That's so amazing. And you guys have to be prepared for just about anything, as you just pointed out there. So how can viewers find more about you guys and donate to the Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services?
Absolutely. You can visit disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. And we encourage monetary donations because it allows us to purchase the exact thing that somebody needs in that moment. And the money is used to buy items locally to help support the local economy and help people recover and communities recover quickly from a disaster.
Absolutely.
So important. Yeah.
Some people never understand how important it is to prepare for a disaster until they or someone they love goes through it. And all of a sudden you've got a whole new look on it. So thank you so much for everything you do with the Salvation Army and the Emergency Disaster Services. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gosh, Cheryl, it's like what you talk about all the time on Prepare with Share. It's just like you're trying to prepare for disasters, but you don't know what exactly is going to happen. So it's so important to be able to just give these monetary donations so that they can give people exactly what they need, just like you said.
Exactly, because sometimes if people donate too much stuff, there's nobody there to go through the stuff and distribute it, and it just piles and piles and piles. So just make sure you always know what you're doing. Once again, there's that website on the bottom of your screen.
Yes. And I want to keep this theme going of giving back and helping people out. So coming up next, we're going to show you how you can give back this holiday season. Welcome back into Main Street Living. If you guys can believe it, we are nearing 2 years since the global pandemic changed all of our lives. And for many people, life has just not returned to how it was before.
So true, Danielle. In fact, this holiday season, the need is especially great for basics like food, of course, and also food banks around the country are helping families bridge that gap. So if you need help or you want to help give this holiday season, the San Diego Food Bank is a great option. Take a look at why.
Food insecurity is defined as not having sufficient resources to buy food either for yourself or for your family. Folks who are food insecure struggle with not having enough food to eat because maybe they lost their jobs or maybe they are in between homes, unsheltered. It is important to not be able to just look at one person as being food insecure, but really looking at them as it could be anyone. The San Diego Food Bank has been around for over 40 years. We have 2 locations, one in the Miramar area and one in the Vista area. We have volunteers at our Miramar facility and our Vista facility helping us run food distributions, helping us pack food to be able to meet that increased demand. Our job is to help procure food here locally for San Diego County residents to make sure that no one is going to bed hungry. The COVID pandemic impacted the San Diego region and the San Diego Food Bank in ways that we could have never imagined. Prior to the pandemic, the food bank was serving 350,000 people every single month. Now, we see numbers reach as high as 600,000 people per month. So we went from spending, on average, $1 million a year on food to now having spent more than $16 million on food purchases to meet that increased demand. It has been a huge increase almost overnight, and the food bank and our community have all had to step up in order to meet that increased demand. Accessing food from the San Diego Food Bank is very simple. We try to remove all barriers to access food so that folks do have the needed resources in order to receive their food. So we remove those barriers here at the San Diego Food Bank by allowing folks to go to food distributions that are in and around their neighborhoods. A lot of our distributions right now are operating as drive-through distributions, so they are safe to attend if you are concerned with getting out of your vehicle and walking into a food pantry. There are many ways to support the San Diego Food Bank and our North County Food Bank chapter this holiday season. You can volunteer at any of our distributions. You can host a virtual food drive. You can even host an in-person food drive. During the holidays, we make it so easy by partnering with Vons and Albertsons. You can go to any one of their stores throughout the San Diego region and buy a $5 bag, which will come back to the San Diego Food Bank and help us to continue to feed those 600,000 people every single month. The San Diego Food Bank needs your continued support. Please visit our website at sandiegofoodbank.org, and there you will see all of the different ways that you too can get involved.
Wow, Cheryl, Quincy, I know it's been really tough on everybody not having life kind of return to that normal, but some good things that have come out of the pandemic. Obviously, a virtual food drive. How cool is that? Because we've had to kind of switch to everything becoming pretty virtual.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've actually been to a food bank like in person, so just to see all the foods and non-perishable items, you know, it's a lot to take it all in, but just to know that there's someone out there doing good is very helpful.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
want to thank all the food banks for what they're doing. And if you need food assistance or would like to donate or volunteer, please go to the sandiegofoodbank.org or, of course, the food bank in your city. Well, coming up, animals could always use some help as well. And we will wrap up my story about how right whales are being impacted by climate change. Stay with us.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, Cheryl, by now, I believe we're all aware that our impact as humans is reaching far beyond our own communities, and it's also affecting ecosystems all around the globe, right?
Absolutely. Between the warming climate and seemingly endless plastic waste, plants and animals around the planet are feeling the effects of their human neighbors.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity, thanks to a grant from the Society of Environmental Journalists, to follow scientific researchers in New England who are researching the impact climate change is having on the already endangered population of North Atlantic right whales. Here's part 2 of my story.
Last time on Main Street Living, we began to look at the impacts of climate change on right whales. Today, we will dive into that a little deeper and also share some potential solutions. The public can help too, and all it takes is submitting a simple photograph or video captured or seen on social media to the New England Aquarium. Since transmitters can wound the whales and get damaged easily, since 1980, NEAQ has relied on their catalog of North Atlantic right whales for tracking. If researchers can identify individual whales, they have a better idea of an individual's health and how migration patterns may be changing.
We had a whale that was seen up off of Iceland that people on a whale watch boat took a photograph of. He had just been seen in Cape Cod Bay a few months earlier. And then that whale was seen off the coast of France. Luckily, someone took a video and they sent the video to us and we're like, oh, that's Mogul. That's Mogul who's doing these interesting movement patterns. We actually don't know where they are a larger chunk of the time. So we rely on our ability to find them, take photographs, observe what their weight looks like, what their skin condition looks like, whether or not they have a calve, whether or not they have new entanglements. And so by not being able to find them as frequently, it really impacts our ability to know how the population is doing.
Based on these photographs, researchers have noted a change in right whale anatomy due to injuries from entanglements and other factors.
All of those human impacts and these cumulative stressors, as they call them, mount over years and years. And in fact, a study was just done that showed that right whales are getting shorter.
A right whale in 2019 will be about 3 feet shorter than a right whale in 1981.
Not only has there been a change in their growth, but also a change in their reproductive rates due to less available plankton in their typical feeding areas in the Gulf of Maine.
They used to give birth every 4 years, 4 to 5 years. Now they're giving birth, some of them is every 10 years.
Why is that?
Well, a right whale will lose about 1/3 of its body weight nursing a calf. So a female has to be in really good body condition in order to carry a pregnancy to term and then nurse the calf. So a female will choose to forego getting pregnant in that if she isn't in a good enough body condition. So if we don't have the reproductive females, which are the ones who are getting injured and killed at a higher rate than the males, then we don't have the species.
Because right whales generally stay so close to the eastern seaboard, they're at risk from human activities 12 months of the year. This keeps their population from growing, and climate change is only adding salt to the wound. Due to the changing climate, predicting exactly where right whales will be next year remains a challenge.
We can be using forecasting as a climate adaptation tool. We can, just like we forecast the weather, we can forecast things like whales. And that's something that we're working on in our lab. So hopefully, as we see each year looking different, we can get a little bit of a head start for how to plan ahead.
You think of other creatures that are also being impacted. Fish, for example, they're just not as visible to us. The ocean itself it's a very, it's like outer space. It's such a different environment. It's really hard for us to wrap our minds around what's happening under the surface.
You know, I have tremendous heartache about this situation and this species. It's not even just a species that's going extinct. It's individuals. It's individuals that I've seen, from when they were calves grow up and then give birth to their own calves. It's personal, and I think if people can feel that the way I feel that, then I would hope that they would care.
Caring is step 1. Taking action is step 2.
Call their congressman or write letters or change their behavior, ask where their seafood's coming from to see whether or not it's whale safe. There are lots of things that people who really feel that it's personal can do. So I hope people can find that in themselves.
Right whales are not the only whales to be impacted by the effects of climate change. In part 2 of this series, we travel up the coast to Bar Harbor, Maine to talk with researchers at the College of the Atlantic to learn how fin and humpback whales are faring.
All right, guys, I want to point out that if you or anybody at home watching happens to spot a right whale, NEAQ asks that you submit any photos and videos to rwcatalog.neaq.org so their team can identify and track individual whales. And also remember that it is illegal to approach a North Atlantic right whale by boat, plane, or drone within 500 yards without a permit in U.S. waters and 100 meters in Canadian waters. And we'll have my final installment coming up next week about humpback and fin whales.
If I see a picture, if I see a whale, Cheryl, I'm sending you a picture. That is for certain. But coming up, you know that the holidays leave us feeling run ragged. So we have some tips to keep your energy up next. Welcome back into Main Street Living. While the holidays may seem like a season that's built on excess, one thing we all seem to run short on this time of year is energy.
There are just too many things to do. I've got my list there and my Post-it, and Jim White has some tips for keeping your energy levels up now and throughout the year. So you'll want to listen up to this.
Hi, I'm Jim White, registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. Living life to the fullest means many different things to many different people. It's important to have more energy throughout the days to be able to live that life to the fullest. Try these exercise and lifestyle tips to give you more energy throughout the day. It's important to get sunlight throughout the day. Getting 10 to 30 minutes each day can increase serotonin levels, a chemical that gives you more energy. Sleep. Nothing gives you energy or better prepares you for the next day like a great and restful night of sleep. Sleep aids in energy conservation, cognitive function, and emotion regulation, all things that are important when it comes to having more energy. Exercise. Exercise like brisk walks and yoga can increase your calm energy and the dopamine levels in your brain. Great for getting you through the rest of your day. Decrease stress. Being stressed out makes for restless and short sleeps during the night. Try practicing de-stressing techniques before you go to bed so that you can have a better night's sleep. This will allow you to be prepared to tackle the stress the next day. Staying hydrated. Dehydration will always lead to fatigue. By drinking your body's necessary amount of water each day, you will keep your mind focused, alert, and ready. Having more energy is vital for living your best life. By following these fitness nutrition tips, you'll have more energy to get through the day. For more information on health, visit jimwhitefit.com.
All right, Quincy, Danielle, sleep. That is the key for me. I know I don't get enough during the week, but on the weekends, I've been known to sleep for 12 hours a night.
Little cat nap in there for you, Cheryl?
I don't nap very much. I kind of just sleep straight. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I tend to sleep longer on Saturdays and Sundays, basically because during the week I'm waking up, I would probably say as early as 7:30.
Oh.
But I'm always averaging 2 a.m. in the morning going to bed. That's an average.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Quincy, that is not plenty of sleep.
I know this. I just heard Jim White say it. I know. I wish I could get into bed.
Well, the good news is I might not be getting plenty of sleep this week. I'm definitely not getting plenty of exercise. I'm doing my best here, guys. But I will be getting plenty of sun. So that is good. My vitamin D levels will be good.
Yes, I'm a little envious of that right now, especially since we've lost so much daylight, it seems like. And anyways, we've got a lot more coming up. And if you want to learn more about this, find out more tips for staying healthy and fit at jimwhitefit.com.
That's right. Straight ahead, we got more of Main Street Living as I clear my throat.
Getting old, Quincy. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Cheryl, you know what I just realized? Once Thanksgiving is over, Quincy has to let the decorations come up.
Oh, Quincy, that's right.
Please let that go, okay? And we'll find out more from, just in the future. But hey, this is episode number 82. So if you want to see this and other previous episodes, go to our Cox Contour app.
And as always, new episodes of Main Street Living, 9 p.m. local time on Mondays. Join us next time as we take another stroll down Main Street.